On the night of May the 16th, 1943, bomb aimer Johnnie Johnson and his crew sat ready to take off for Germany's dams. Their pilot, Joe McCarthy, fired up the engines, but one of them refused to start. It suddenly seemed they might lose their place in history.
So we had to whip out a bit sharpish into the reserve aircraft, and typical Joe's reaction, for Christ's sake, get into that other aircraft quick before some other bugger gets it and we don't get a chance to go.
Finally, Johnny took off in the reserve aircraft, well behind schedule.
We were consequently about 30 minutes late off. He opened the taps a little bit, so we went out a bit faster than was scheduled, so that we could try to make up a bit of time.
Flying at 100 feet above ground, the 19 Special Lancaster bombers swept through enemy territory, dodging treetops and ducking under German radar. Just after midnight, the first wave of 9 planes reached the Myrna Dam, which held 30 billion gallons of water. Guy Gibson opened the attack, launching the first bouncing bomb at precisely 60 feet. Then Gibson flew alongside the other attacking planes, guiding them by radio and drawing German fire. On the 5th attempt, the dam broke. A man-made tsunami hurtled down the Ruhr Valley. The attack on the second dam, the Ada, was also successful. Johnnie Johnson, crouched in the bomb aimer's position in the nose of his aircraft, raced to the third dam, the Sorpe. His plane made 9 dummy runs before Johnny decided they'd reached the exact position to drop their bomb.
On the 10th, we actually made it. And so we went round eventually to have a look at what had happened, and we had in fact crumbled the top of the dam.
Of the group of 5 planes sent to attack the Sorpe Dam, Johnny's alone got through the German defenses. His one bomb damaged the dam, but it didn't breach it. As a result, the dam's raid was only a partial success, and it took a terrible toll. 8 out of the 19 planes were lost. Of the 133 men who set out, 53 died. But for war-weary Britain, it was electrifying.
I've got news. Bomber Command struck last night a heavy blow.
Churchill's propaganda machine presented the raid as a turning point in the Allies' struggle, and the Dambusters became overnight celebrities.
We saw it splattered all over the papers the next morning. And it was, God, did we do that? It proved to the German hierarchy that what they thought was impregnable, the Royal Air Force could get through and destroy. I think perhaps the most important thing was the morale effect it had on the people of this country, because it was a change in the direction of the war. We were winning something, we had won something, the boost was there.
Johnny, now 86 years old, has always been proud to be part of the Dambusters legend. In recent years, some historians have debunked the dam's raid as a pointless sacrifice. Johnny has no time for their views.
I have a pet hate, and that is the retrospective historians. No, it wasn't worthwhile. It should never have been attempted. It was too expensive on life. It didn't do any damage at all. If I ever met one of those people, I would hope that my hands were tied behind my back, because I don't know quite what I'd do with them if they weren't. But I'd just ask them 2 questions. Were you there? Do you know what the conditions were at that time? And the answer to both those questions is no, so keep your bloody mouth shut. And I do get so angry about that sort of thing.
Johnny is equally proud of the plane at the heart of the Dambuster legend, the Avro Lancaster.
Listening, just listening to those 4 Merlin engines and those 4 props going round and round. This was the most reliable lady in the Bomber Command.
After the dam's raid, Johnnie never again flew in his special Dambuster Lancaster, seen here in a declassified photograph. The plane he affectionately called T for Tommy.
We didn't see the aircraft again. We went back to the standard Lancaster. They'd done a wonderful job which could not have been achieved with any other aircraft. And that in itself, I think, made them, to us, unforgettable. I often wondered what had happened to those aircraft, to that one in particular.
RAF records show that T for Tommy was kept on with a new crew for further missions, including top-secret operations over occupied Europe. 7 months after the dam's raid, T for Tommy took off for France. It never returned. The crash sites of all the Dambuster Lancasters have been located, except Johnnie's. In September 2007, Johnnie heard that a group of aviation archaeologists was setting out to find his plane. He went to meet them at East Kirkby Air Museum in Lincolnshire.
I have no knowledge of what happened to any of the dam's raid aircraft.
There are a few left at the end of the war which were sort of melted down for saucepans, but the only one we can't really account for and we can't pinpoint definitely is the one that you flew in. It was one that's particularly special because it had been used before the dam's raid as a test aircraft.
Records suggest that the aircraft crashed in the Somme region of France.
If you do get to a stage where I think you have found it, I hope you'll let me know, because I would like to be there and see what bit of it there is left.
Well, if we manage it,
yes,
expect a telephone call.
Great.
The Somme region is a graveyard of RAF planes. Hundreds were shot down there in World War II. Initially, the chances of pinpointing Johnnie's Lancaster seemed remote, but then came a breakthrough from a local eyewitness, Albert Roudinger. As a boy of 16, he lived near the railway station in Doullens, where the Germans had placed a mobile flak gun.